The US Open is one of the biggest tennis events in the world, but it isn't just the big names that make it such a memorable tournament. The host city, New York, has proven to be the launching pad for relatively unknown players. The question is why? Keep watching this video, as I'll be telling you why the US Open is the site of so many breakthrough champions. The myth behind New York. They say New York is the concrete jungle, where dreams are made of. Some might say it's just a myth, but going by the successes many young tennis players have had at the US Open, then it might just be more than that. In case you don't know, New York has played host to the US Open since 1987, and since then, many miraculous victories and career launches have taken place there. Upcoming tennis star and first-time US Open finalist Casper Ruud has said that he's not too sure what it is, but he is certain that there's something special about the Big Apple. But he's not the only young player to have played in the US Open final for the first time, as Carlos Alcaraz joined him for a showdown at the last Grand Slam of the year. The fact that Ruud and Alcaraz were both in the final means that the 2022 US Open would produce a first-time champion. Luckily for Carlos Alcaraz, that honor went to him, as he defeated Ruud in a thrilling contest. So, will the trend continue? Will Alcaraz follow the footsteps of other youngsters who previously won the US Open to become a tennis legend? Only time will tell. But we can all agree that Alcaraz is already on the right path. He's just 19 years old, and he has already made history as the youngest US Open champion in the competition's history. If that isn't a sign of greatness and good things to come, then I don't know what is. What makes the US Open special for players outside the Big Four? Novak Djokovic, Andy Murray, Rafael Nadal, and Roger Federer have been the most dominant names in men's tennis for a very long time. So good have they been that they've been branded the Big Four. These men have had their fair share of successes at the US Open, but so have the younger, lesser-known guys. So how do the guys outside the Big Four manage to find success in the US Open more than they do at other Grand Slams? Let's take a look at the stats. Since Novak Djokovic made his first major final at the 2007 US Open, the tournament has been the greatest hope for upcoming talent to break the Big Four jinx. Out of the last 30 men's finalists at the US Open, 12 of them do not belong in the Big Four. This may not seem like a big deal until you consider the fact that Roland Garros produced only 9, Wimbledon produced 8, and the Australian Open produced only 6 finalists that were not part of the Big Four. To add to that, the US Open is the only major Grand Slam that has mixed up the Big Four champions and the underdog champions almost evenly in the past 14 years. Juan Martín del Potro in 2009, Čilić in 2014, Stan Wawrinka in 2016, Dominic Thiem in 2020, Medvedev in 2021, and Alcaraz in 2022. That's a whole 6 players that have won the US Open outside the Big Four, which gives us an 8-6 split as far as the past 14 years are concerned. How does this compare to the French Open? Well, since Nadal's first title at the 2005 French Open, only 8 out of the past 70 Grand Slam winners have been outside the Big Four. That's a whole 62 titles spread among Nadal, Murray, Djokovic, and Federer. And out of the 8 non-Big Four winners, 6 of those titles have come from the US Open. Since that time, the US Open is the only Grand Slam to have had a final that didn't feature any member of the Big Four. Dominic Thiem's 2020 win over Alex Zverev was the first men's major final since 2014 to not involve any of the Big Four players, and it's happened 3 times, with Čilić taking down Kei Nishikori in the 2014 final, Dominic Thiem defeating Alex Zverev in 2020, and 2022's final between Ruud and Alcaraz. It will also interest you to know that since Djokovic's first final in 2007, the US Open has witnessed as many as 9 first-time men's finalists. This is almost twice as many as the French Open's 5, which is the second highest mark. To be fair to the French Open, it offered Casper Ruud his first taste of a Grand Slam final. However, he got crushed by Rafael Nadal, a prominent member of the Big Four. Does the timing favor the underdogs and the new guys? A possible reason why the underdogs are finding more success at the US Open than other Grand Slams could be the timing of the tournament. It is the last Grand Slam of the year, and at that time, the members of the Big Four may be gassed out from their extremely busy schedules and participation in as many as 3 major Grand Slams leading up to the US Open. One of those major Grand Slams is Wimbledon, which is played just over a month before the US Open starts. That's too small of a time bracket for the major players to recover from all the fatigue. Keep in mind that the Big Four Four players usually go far in these other Grand Slams, so recovery time before the US Open is sometimes too small. Most Masters events are played on hard courts, and in a sport like tennis that boasts of heavy hitters and stoppers, pacing up and down could take a toll on the lower body. We've already watched Nick Kyrgios withdraw from the Atlanta Open singles only a few days after playing the Wimbledon final. He didn't cite any injury as his reason, rather he complained of general fatigue and soreness. Kyrgios, after losing in the quarterfinal of the US Open this year, said that everyone was dealing with one knock or the other at this time of the year. How has the US Open been unkind to the Big Four in recent years? Since 2007, Nadal and Federer have missed the US Open 4 times each, with Federer exiting in the semis 5 times and Nadal exiting 4 times. As for Andy Murray, he hasn't even gotten to the US Open semifinals since he won his first major there in 2012. Murray also averages a 4th-round exit in this tournament, and this without a doubt makes the US Open his worst Grand Slam of them all. However, the US Open has somewhat been kind and unkind to Djokovic, who has found more success than Murray in the US Open, as he has reached the final 9 times in his total of 14 appearances. He has also won it 3 times, but still it remains the only Grand Slam where he has experienced back-to-back exits before the quarterfinals since 2007. In 2021, Djokovic had a brutal season, and it was evident in his gameplay at that year's US Open final. In that same year, Djokovic was on course to become the first man in over 50 years to win a calendar year Grand Slam, but was smashed in straight sets by Medvedev. If you follow Djokovic's career, then you will agree that he wasn't his dominant self throughout the 2021 US Open. He even broke down sobbing before the final game. This could have been as a result of the wear and tear his body had faced from a very difficult year, and his mind telling him that his body wouldn't be able to see him through to another US Open victory. Can Carlos Alcaraz carry his US Open form into the Australian Open? The Australian Open is the first major of the year, and it is played in the sort of gruesome conditions most players wouldn't care for. Playing conditions aside, Australia is the land down under, which means most players have to make a long and tiring trip. For the Big Four players who have millions of dollars and can afford the best medical care, they can be better rested and prepared after the US Open to compete. The same cannot be said of the other lesser-known players who aren't global tennis stars and who cannot afford certain luxuries. The question now is, can Carlos Alcaraz outperform the big boys at the 2023 Australian Open? He's earned a fat paycheck for himself from his victory at the US Open, and his youth and newfound stardom will surely attract the big brands, who will come at him with big endorsement checks. So with all this cash coming in, will Alcaraz enjoy the same quality of rest and off-season treatment as the big boys, which will help him prepare better for the Australian Open? We'll have to wait and see. So guys, besides what we've discussed in this video, what else do you think makes the US Open tick for the underdogs? Do you think Alcaraz will blaze on from here or fizzle away in the near future? Let us know via the comment section. Don't forget to like and share this video too. Most importantly, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to stay updated with more interesting videos like this.